Yeah, I was like a young girl. I was a youth. Where he was not even known.
There, you are not married.
No. But no, I was already taken here.
Oh, okay.
So I'm telling you, me by the time I was first year.
Yeah, you had been taken.
Done and dusted.
You've been born. Then you get to that age when you realize that there's no father figure in the house.
Yeah.
And you begin to ask questions, and then your mom tells you, no, I don't want to hear those questions.
I was born in 1980, 4th of December, and I was born in Nairobi. I was born to my mom, Teresia Wanjiku. All along, I've lived a very comfortable life. Comfortable meaning I had my mom, had my siblings, we went to school and all. Until one time, when we had one of the family meetings over December, the time we were pretty young, and as I was playing with some of my cousins, and one of them came to me and said, "Hi, Lulu, you're not Kenya. Your father is Rwandese. You have a father who is Rwandese." And I'm thinking, father, I'm thinking all along, it's very normal. It's not a must for you to have a father. You can be brought up by any. And by that time, I think I was around class 4, 5, yeah. And I thought, wow, it's a high time I should ask and get to know who my father is, because there was no issue. And so I did ask my mom, and it did not come out very, very well. However, you'll understand now, owing to maybe whatever had happened then. When I went back to school, and I had a lot of my classmates talk about their father. If any of them asked me, and where's your father? How come it's only your mother who comes for meetings? I'll tell them that my father is a pilot, actually. I forgot to tell you that he's never there. And so I left it at that. It didn't bother me much at that time. But I think for me, the true time that actually I decided to start my search was when my mom's sister, now late, was ailing, and that was around 2001. And by that time I had already joined college. And when I joined college, one of the breaks, and I was taking care of my auntie, and as she was at the hospital, we used to talk quite a lot. And one time she just told me, "You know what, Lulu, I want to give you information that you may never have known about. I want to tell you that your father's name is Saul Gahenda." And I was like, "Oh, Saul Gahenda?" And she said, "Yes." And by that time, since my auntie was not very strong because of the illness, I really tried to probe quite a lot. And I asked, "So how do I get him? Where is he at?" The only information that my auntie had was, I worked with him at those days in Serena. I am actually the one who introduced your mom to him. But that's all I know. Oh, and yes, apart from that, we used to live in Ayani, Kibera, where he used to also live. So that's all I know. And I asked, do you have any person that I can get in touch with? And she's like, no. So she looked quite tired, and I said, okay, you just sleep, we'll talk later. So I went back home. I left at the hospital. So for me, I was to go back to college like after 2 days. And unfortunately, after 2 days, I got the news that my auntie had succumbed. So yes, we buried my auntie. And now for me was to wait and see which available time that at least when you have a break in college. Because what it used to be class. Then we go and do a bit of the ward practicals, and then maybe you'd get a break. I came to Nairobi and I said I need to start the search. So what did I have? I had Rwanda in mind, and I knew the names, and I thought then I should go to the embassy. And so I got myself and went to the embassy. And at that time, I think I was not even cognizant that you're supposed to even book an appointment to go to an embassy. And I just went and I got to the guards. I told them, you know what, I'm here. I just want to make an inquiry. And the guards were like, you have to have an appointment. And I said, okay, this one is like kind of urgent. And I told them I'm looking for my father. I have the names. And they looked at me and they said, okay, we rarely do this, but we'll have a lady who will assist you to guide you. And so indeed, I did get a lady who assisted me, and she listened to me and told me, now, those many years ago, there were no computers, right? There were no computers. So really, in terms of data, we would not have data for like 70s, right? But what you could do for any person who comes from Rwanda to Kenya, you have to be registered at the Red Cross offices at Isili. So maybe you could try there. And so what did I do? I realized it was getting a bit late. I had to go back home. I went home, but the following morning, yes, I did go to Isili, and I was directed. People were very helpful, and I went to the office, and I inquired, is this the place? And they said yes. And they asked me, how would you want us to assist? And I said, you know what? This is my father's name, so Gahenda, and I'm looking for him. And they said, okay, we'll take all the details. We'll take your number, and should the search bear fruit, we shall be able to call you. And somehow I felt very hopeful. And also at that particular time, I had myself my Sony Ericsson, a blue one, so at least I knew that I just need to have it charged all the time, right? So that I don't miss out on any call. And I went back home, and a few days later I went back to college. So I remember exactly 3 weeks down, I saw a call, and I had actually saved all the numbers for Red Cross. And it read Red Cross, and I was like, yes, that is it. So I made sure I actually went far away so that I could just get the information so clear. I was very hopeful. And the person asked, is this Elizabeth? And I said, yes. And they said, would you, we have been able to go through the information that you gave us. We have been able to contact the country representatives on the other side. But unfortunately, your search did not yield. Dear, that was quite some news that I didn't want to, because I mean, afterwards, this part where you start off like, happy, then you're like, okay, that's it. So I looked forward to my next break. And this time, my strategy was, okay, embassy not working, and Red Cross search failed. Let's go and now be a bit, let's go and check, where do these people meet? I was looking forward to any function, and somehow I got whiff that there was a burial for some Rwandese, and luckily it was at Langata. And so, yes, I armed myself, and I didn't even tell anyone at all. And remember, in all this, I told no one. And I went, and I think the mood was not really too good, because I checked like this, and I'm thinking, who do I talk to? And I said, oops, people are in mourning, not a good idea. So I remember I walked off. And so somehow I also got whiff that there's going to be a wedding, and it was somewhere around Jamhuri. And now that one, I made sure I had to be there. And when I arrived, I made sure I just walked around, and I had to look for at least that one person who looked a bit friendly and smiley. And yes, I did get hold of a couple. And I introduced myself. Hi, my name is Elizabeth, but I just want to have an inquiry to make. I'm looking for my father. I actually realized that in all this, I never minced my words at all. I was like, I am looking for my father. Every end of the month, the last Saturday of the month, there's a place we meet at Ngong Road, all of us. So why don't you make time and come? In fact, the meeting is like in a week's time. So we start at 11 a.m. And I was like, oh, phew. At least I was going to be around before I go back to college. And for sure, by 9 a.m., I was there. And I think I showed you the pictures of my friend Rosemary, yes, who's been my long-term friend from way in high school. And we went with her, and we stood there, 9, 10, 11, 11:30, almost 12. The guard says, wait a minute, guys, the meeting that was held last month was the last one that they were meant to have in this particular area. They've moved location. So I was like, whoa. So where have they moved to? And he said, honestly, I wouldn't know where they are. And then I'm like, okay, do you even have at least a representative's number or somebody's number? I said, I don't even have a phone. And actually, those days, once again, not everyone had the phone, even the small kabambis that everyone has. And so it was very disappointing. And we went back home. And I went back to college, and I'm thinking, wait a minute, I think I've exhausted all options. I've done all the necessary functions. I've checked even which place, I've checked embassies, I've checked where. And now the only person who gave me the information is not there. I can't ask anyone else. So I think I left it at that. But of course, it's something that will always be in you, that unanswered question in your life. And from there, yes, I did go ahead. I completed my college. I did well. And yes, I completed. So got married. I got my child. And somewhere along 2011, yeah, 2011, that's the time Facebook had just checked in. And those are the days you could only access it through the from the cyber cafes, right? Yeah, from the cyber cafes. And we didn't, of course, our phones were not integrated to more or less log into that. So at that particular time, I was working at the Nairobi Women's Hospital, and I was a night supervisor. And by God's grace, somehow it was calm that night with no emergencies. And so I logged in to Facebook. I had already opened an account. And here I am. I have two names. I said, let me just type and see what what is happening. And I typed in Sol Gahenda, and I saw a very old man. Man, he looked like 100 and something years. So I'm trying to like backtrack and see, wait a minute, must have been this age. This somehow it just didn't match at all. And I said no. So later on, again, when I was on night duty, this time I just decided to type one name, Gahenda. And when I typed the name Gahenda, oh my God, there were like 10, 15s of them. And what I was doing, I was using the computer that is in just adjacent to the pharmacy. And I remember there was a certain boy who had like round eyes like mine and a nose like mine, some facial features that were a bit similar. I remember telling my colleague Moredi, check out this guy. Ebu, look at him. I think we look like him. So he was like, yeah, yenyewe, unamjua? Then I'm like, I don't know him, lakini but let's see what will happen. So maybe, is this a part I can maybe show you a bit of the screenshots of the same? And so what I did, I've put off my phone, so it's okay, it's fine, I can just be talking. At that particular time, I typed in, hi, my name is Elizabeth Wamwea, aka Lulu. I'm looking for my dad, Sol Gahenda, so this is my number, just in case of anything.